Our top focus is Saturday, AIADMK Supremo Jayalalithaa to be sworn in as Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu.
That's right. In fact, 8 months ago, Jayalalithaa was staring at political oblivion. Many people had even written off her and also written her political epitaph. But with seasoned pundits, as we told you, writing her off, a return after her conviction in the disproportionate assets case is now something which is happening. 218 days later, Jayalalithaa is getting ready to script a stunning comeback in Tamil Nadu.
The AIADMK Supremo will be sworn in along with 28 ministers at the Centenary Hall of the Madras University. She met the state's governor K. Rizaya on Friday afternoon and staked claim to form the government. At her first public appearance after her political exile, Jayalalithaa was thronged by supporters and party men as she paid floral tributes to the statue of MGR.
That's right. In fact, the oath-taking ceremony is likely to be no less spectacular. According to reports, a senior NDA minister could be attending this ceremony as Jaya takes oath as Tamil Nadu Chief Minister for the 5th time. All right, our non-stop coverage, carpet bombing coverage from Chennai only continues, and if you are in Chennai, you will obviously not miss whatever is happening. If you are outside Chennai, T.S. Sudhir, our editor South, is actually going to get us all the action. He joins us from the Madras University. Sudhir, I mean, you were telling us yesterday that this is the same place where she was sworn in as Chief Minister earlier as well. So there is obviously some amount of symbolism as far as Madras University auditorium is concerned.
Absolutely, which is why it's being described as the biggest and the most dramatic comeback. Sanket, we come to you from the vantage point. In fact, if my camera person could just pan right and show you, that's the Madras University, and we are bang next to the MGR and Anna Samadhi here. So this is the beach road in Chennai, and this is the vantage point, and this is where all the action is taking place. And here you can see a whole lot of AIADMK supporters who have come, slogan shouting, Sanket, pretty much the flavor of the season, slogans in praise of Jayalalithaa, and there they are, brought in buses from all over Tamil Nadu. In fact, the Marina Beach is full of buses parked here since yesterday, and they have been brought here and they are here. In fact, many of them spend the night here on the beach itself. So in that sense, it's a party at the beach as far as Chennai is concerned. But yes, today is definitely a big day. Okay, she's being heralded as Jhansi Ki Rani. In fact, there are lots of posters, Sanket, which may interest you. In fact, describing Jayalalithaa, showing her riding a chariot, which is taken off by lions. So in that sense, showcasing her bravery and courage, that seems to be really the flavor of the season. But yes, today is a big day. Along with 28 more other MLAs, they will all be sworn in as ministers in the new Tamil Nadu cabinet under Chief Minister Jayalalithaa.
All right, so these stay on with us. We're also being joined by senior journalist Siddharth Varadarajan from the national capital. Siddharth, how do you see this grand welcome that's been organized for Jayalalithaa? She's being sworn in as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu for the 5th time. Now, we're also being told that central ministers are expected to attend the swearing-in ceremony. Modi had also congratulated her after her acquittal. The NDA continues to woo the AIADMK Supremo.
Well, the inauguration it shouldn't surprise us. I think that and the grand scale of it and the attempt to milk it for all its political symbolism, you know, this is what Jayalalithaa has always thrived on, and Tamil politics in a sense has always, you know, used or relied on the excessive symbolism of attachments to larger than life leaders. And Jayalalithaa, having secured this acquittal under what I believe to be, you know, rather, well, it was a difficult case, and a case that will, of course, still go on to the Supreme Court. But having secured this acquittal at the High Court and come back triumphant, barely 7 or 8 months after that enormous setback of the trial court conviction, you know, this is her moment of glory, her moment of triumph, and she will savor it, she will celebrate it, and you know, essentially milk it for all it's worth. She has, by her political calculations, a fairly limited window or a limited window of opportunity when she needs to consolidate, deliver good or quick or better governance, and prepare for the next elections, and hope that that entire process can be completed before the Supreme Court is able to hear any appeal, let alone pronounce its final verdict on that. But you know, you asked the question about the NDA and the BJP's attitude. Well, it's clear that the BJP, which initially had 2 lines of thought on how to handle its prospects in Tamil Nadu, there was, if you like, the Amit Shah line of trying to build the BJP up, trying to build the NDA given the fact that it did reasonably well in the Lok Sabha elections. And then you have the, shall we say, the Modi-Jaitley line, which sees greater value in perhaps piggybacking on Jayalalitha's, not inconsiderable popularity as a means of building up support for the Modi government, particularly in the Rajya Sabha.
Absolutely.
So it's clear that the latter line, particularly in the light of her acquittal, has triumphed, and so it doesn't surprise me that that Mr. Modi himself greeted her, congratulated her, and that the NDA and the BJP will go all out in a way to welcome her back to the political fold.
Absolutely, Siddharth. Absolutely. And spot on. Sudhir, what Siddharth is actually saying is something, which is so relevant at this moment, because the fact that she is coming back as chief minister is a no-brainer. Everybody knew that after the acquittal, she will become the chief minister all over again. She'll be sworn in. What we see right now is exactly that happening. The real suspense, and since journalists are in the habit of looking for that suspense or that X factor in a story, is the fact that what will happen from here on, both in Tamil Nadu as well as here at the center, her equation with Narendra Modi. Will she support Narendra Modi in Rajya Sabha or not?
Well, as far as the relations between Jayalalithaa and Narendra Modi and AIADMK and BJP are concerned, obviously both are in a need for each other kind of a situation, because Narendra Modi does need the 11 MPs that AIADMK brings to the Rajya Sabha. Narendra Modi realizes that many of the crucial bills are getting stuck in the Rajya Sabha, and therefore having some kind of a friendly relations with someone like Jayalalithaa will definitely help. Also, the fact that Thambi Durai was made the deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha obviously was an indication that the AIADMK and the BJP could do business with each other. But the crucial question is, will this actually translate into some kind of a political electoral equation even in Tamil Nadu, given the fact that elections are just a year away? Pretty much in the realm of possibility, even though the state BJP leaders are indulging in posturing that they would actually fight and take on the AIADMK, trying to say that the AIADMK is a spent force, and especially with the 2G verdict round the corner. But yes, everyone actually keeping their cards close to the chest, especially Jayalalithaa, because she could very well do business with the BJP on her own terms, because the BJP is really not a force to reckon with in Tamil Nadu. So if the BJP wants to ally with the AIADMK and fight elections together in Tamil Nadu in 2016, it will have to do so on Jayalalitha's terms, and that is going to be extremely crucial. On a lighter note, there are all these reports of mathematical errors in the Karnataka High Court judgment. But as far as Tamil Nadu politics is concerned, Jayalalithaa seems to have worked out her political calculations very well. She knows that the opposition is splintered. She has the advantage. And if the BJP also comes down to her side, it could very well be advantage Jayalalithaa and advantage AIADMK.
Absolutely. And Sudhir, you're telling us that 28 ministers also to be sworn in along with Jayalalithaa. I want to understand, why is it that new people are being inducted at this stage, and any word on what kind of portfolios these people will be occupying?
Well, the portfolios are almost the same as they were allocated under O. Paneerselvam. So in that sense, Jayalalithaa not really going in for a major shake-up as far as her cabinet is concerned. It was expected, because in the last 7 to 8 months, the impression about the Paneerselvam on the streets of Chennai and Tamil Nadu wasn't very great. Everyone thought that it was an administration on pause mode, a listless administration, almost a night watchman kind of innings that Paneerselvam was happily playing. But Jayalalithaa obviously does not want to send the impression that the government that she ran by remote control from Poets Garden was not doing its job well in the last 7 months, because it would reflect finally poorly on her own self and on the AIADMK party. So at this point in time, except for 2 ministers who have been dropped from the cabinet, the rest of the administration, rest of the cabinet remains pretty much the same. Pretty much most of the portfolios, including finance for Paneerselvam, remaining the same.
That's right, Sudhir, as well as Mr. Varadarajan. We'll of course come back to you. We here at Headlines Today are going to cover this particular oath-taking ceremony minute by minute, hour by hour, to get all our viewers who are not in Chennai some perspective of how things are actually developing in Chennai at this moment.
With Headlines Today, our top focus this morning is on Jayalalitha's swearing-in ceremony that is expected to start at 11 a.m. at Madras University. Massive celebrations there underway. The party putting its best foot forward. A grand ceremony has been planned at the Madras University. Now, 8 months ago, Jayalalithaa was staring at political oblivion, but now she's clearly back with her bang, set to take oath along with her 28 ministers.
Absolutely, and this is expected to be a smooth transition from when she was removed from power because of this disproportionate assets case, and Simi now her return within 8 months, and it's Only yesterday she made her first public appearance in 8 months, and that really meant a lot because let's quickly go across to Sudhir, who will tell us the significance of this public appearance. Sudhir, we see these pictures from outside the Madras University, long queues, a lot of people waiting there. What does this public appearance actually mean to the cadre, to the supporter of the AIADMK, for Jayalalitha's fans, her voter base, her cadre? Why was it so important for them to wait for something like yesterday and also today? What's the significance?
Well, all the AIADMK cadre, when the September 27th verdict came, which actually sent her to jail and Bengaluru and also fined her, it almost seems to be the end of the road for the AIADMK because the fine was hefty. The four-year jail term meant that she was disqualified and had to be removed as chief minister. So in that sense, a stopgap arrangement was made here in Chennai and Tamil Nadu. But given the fact that on May 11th, the Karnataka High Court absolved her, acquitted her from all the charges, that has really meant a complete U-turn in the fortunes, the political fortunes of the AIADMK. And this, what you see on the streets of Chennai, is essentially a celebration of that. Because from a completely down and out situation in September, now they have come to a situation where they actually will give the DMK and the other opposition parties a fight. And the posters that you see lined up here on Beach Road, completely filled with Jayalalithaa posters, and that's the massive Madras University building that you can see behind me, quite a beautiful building here on Beach Road. This is testimony to the AIADMK's resolve that they are going to come back with a bang politically and electorally, and they are getting the optics right because essentially the idea is to also from the spectacle of this kind is to send a message to everyone in Tamil Nadu and the opposition parties that they mean business, and everyone in Tamil Nadu or even in Delhi will have to watch out. So Jayalalithaa, now having come back, is now also an extremely powerful chief minister. The party is completely in her grip, the government is completely in her grip, and she would also obviously want to do some kind of business with the BJP and the NDA government at the center.
Absolutely, Siddharth Varadarajan, I want to come to you. You know, these massive public functions with lots of posters and thousands of fans gathering also shows that politicians here in Tamil Nadu especially are cult figures, extremely popular with locals.
Well, there's for sheer theatricality and drama, there's perhaps no state that can match Tamil Nadu, really, and I think within Tamil Nadu there is no party that can match the AIADMK and Jayalalithaa for displays of adulation, cult of personality, sycophancy, whatever you want to call it. There is something unique and something quite, to my mind, quite disturbing about the manner in which Jayalalitha's fans adore or worship her. You have, we've seen so many cases of people committing suicide when she was convicted. There was a young man who actually committed suicide even, I think, a day before the High Court verdict was pronounced. And Jayalalithaa, when she was released, made mention of this young man's, sacrifice, as it were. So I think that this is something which, in a way, confirms the unhealthy nature of, one-person dominance in political parties. You see variations of this across India, in the BSP, perhaps in the Samajwadi Party, in many
and also
sort
at the centre now with the Prime Minister.
Parties. Well, of course. I mean, BJP has traditionally had a much wider leadership base, but we've seen under Narendra Modi concerted efforts to convert the leadership of the party or to kind of revolve it around one man. And which is why many people are critical about the cult of personality also involving Narendra Modi. But I think the high watermark for this kind of approach to politics is in Tamil Nadu and under Jayalalithaa, and which is why for the party, quite frankly, her acquittal makes all the difference between being condemned to isolation or the margins of electoral politics.
To the top.
Had they been forced to go into the coming elections without her leadership and with her behind bars, they wouldn't have done, their prospects would have been really quite dim, which is why other parties, particularly third parties and or third front parties in Tamil Nadu were kind of looking forward to breaking the two-party system of DMK, ADMK. But all those equations are now gone.